Slido session, so you can either take this QR code or activate the hashtag EIE 2025 in this Slido session. I remind you that this meeting is recorded, so if you don't want to appear in the recording, please submit your questions in Slido without putting your name. In case you're putting your name, it means that you're accepting that your name will be displayed even in the recording. So you see here this Slido session, and basically there are three rooms for your questions, which are corresponding to the different topics that we are addressing this morning. So it will be rather easy for you to navigate in these rooms. So of course, please put your questions in the right room for being able to deal with it easily. So the recording is starting now. I'm waiting a couple of seconds. Okay. So let's skim quickly through this agenda. So you see it's a rather packed session. So we'll be getting, first of all, the policy context, which is, of course, extremely important for you to understand the calls themselves. And then we'll be addressing the first topic, which is about the European Network of National Competence Centers for Innovation Procurement. Then we'll have the specific Q&A via Slido. Then we are joining the second topic, which is about expanding investment ecosystems, followed also by a Q&A session. And then we have the third call, which is about scaling up deep tech ecosystems, also with a Q&A session. And then we are coming into more practical information, which is about the lump sum funding scheme, and also about the PIC registration and validation process, so that you know upfront what you will have to do in terms of formalities. And then we're ending with closing remarks, but probably we'll be focusing here more on the contents. So I will essentially here make a work of moderation. So I think, dear colleagues, we can kick off with the first topic. And for this, I'm very pleased to have with us Ekaterina Novikova. She is Deputy Head of Unit in DG RTD A5, which is the unit dealing with innovation policy and access to finance. Ekaterina, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Daniel, and I'm very happy to see that we have already more than 200 participants, and the number is continuously growing. Very, very welcome. So my job is here to link a little bit innovation ecosystem actions, the ones that we're going to go into detail today, to the policy context, because I believe it will help you to prepare the excellent proposals. And of course, a small reminder to you, of course, you always have to follow the legal text of the work program as it is specified in the work program that was adopted, but still awareness of the policy context is quite important. So let's go to the next slide without further ado. And the current, of course, political priorities of the Commission, it's very strong focus to the competitiveness. You probably know already about that. And of course, via the competitiveness compass, the new Commission have outlined its priorities. And here, one of it is support to the startup and scale-ups, and also support to the ecosystem that helps the startups and scale-ups to thrive. And of course, why it is that? It's because startup and scale-ups are strategic drivers for the EU competitiveness, and it is really manifested through the jobs that are created, and also through the GDP that they are contributing to the GDP growth. So of course, they are key to the European growth, but in order for them to be created at the European soil, and also to grow and scale up successfully, we also need to prepare the fertile ground for that, the innovation, so-called innovation ecosystem. And while we have already put in place many measures like a single market to help the startup and scale-ups, but also innovative companies to grow, of course, we face some challenges in Europe. We have still the fragmented markets. It's not easy to go out for the company to other market like cross-border. We still have the limited access to finance. It's difficult for the startups to raise the first rounds, but also subsequent rounds. In particular, it becomes a problem at the later stage of the scaling up of the companies. We still, regulatory barriers still exist, and also there is uneven innovation capacity across the European countries and regions. At the same time, it's not easy to access the talent. Although we have excellent research capacities, excellent universities and researchers, still it's for some specific professions, and specifically for the very quickly emerging professions, and it's starting to be difficult to find the right talent and to recruit this talent quickly. So that was the reason why the Commission this year came up with the European Startup and Scale-up Strategy, and already put in place some actions that would help to overcome these challenges. For example, some measures to simplify the single market, to make the innovation-friendly regulation, to drive better financing and investment flows, and accelerating market uptake and expansion. Also some measure to attract and retain talent, also the talent from abroad, from the third countries, and also the measures to facilitate access to infrastructures, networks, and services. And then once putting all that in place, we also, Commission sees European Innovation Ecosystem Work Program as one of the important drivers to promote these actions and to bring this startup and scale-up strategy right in the market. Next slide, please. So we are coming to the European Innovation Ecosystem Work Program, and as previously, European Innovation Ecosystem Work Program was also very strongly supporting the new European Innovation Agenda. We see and hear through the European Innovation Ecosystem Work Program, we are able to put in place the concrete actions with also concrete budget that we believe would help the delivering the objective of the startup and scale-up strategy. European Innovation Ecosystem Work Program is not a big program. I mean, comparing to other parts of the Horizon Europe, it has only 1.5 billion budget, but still, I think its objective is very clear. And also its objective, if I may say so, may be achieved without really huge funding, because it's actually very much focused on the connectedness, particularly cross-border connectedness, and also to building this inclusive and efficient, robust innovation ecosystem within Europe. What I spoke a lot about startup and scale-ups, but what I want to emphasize that the European innovation ecosystem, it's really focuses not only on the startup and scale-ups, and that must be very clear for everyone. It's really as a beneficiaries in most of the calls and most of the actions, it can be any organization, regional innovation, regional authority, national authority, university, the startup, SME, any other company. So normally the range of the participants in the European Innovation Ecosystem Work Program is very, very, very broad. And again, because why is that? Because of course we believe to support startup and scale-ups, but it's necessary to really connect the different actors, local based and also wider than that, between themselves, in order so they would work together to create this favorable environment for the companies to grow. So here, European Innovation Ecosystem Work Program, of course, it covers diverse ecosystem building dimensions that are highlighted in the startup and scale-up strategy. So it aims to reinforce the network connectivity for sustainable business growth, and also define and achieve ambitious collective goals for the benefit of society, including green, digital, and social transitions. And here through the work program 2025, you can see that it really contributes to the objective of the startup and scale-up strategy, including access to finance, including experimentation practices, innovation procurement, but also to the gender equality and access to global chains for innovative companies. We normally have bottom-up nature, bottom-up calls for European innovation ecosystem, although sometimes, and you also will see in the upcoming calls, we do have like sort of kind of a little bit focus on the current priorities of European Commission. Here I will speak about it later, but in one of the actions, we are really invite you to focus on the 5 burning challenges identified in the new European innovation agenda. My colleagues will speak about it later, just to show a little bit the direction that we would invite you to take. Again, it has European innovation ecosystem has very highly international dimension. Really, a lot of participants, associated countries, third countries are also can join the calls. But also what is important, we are very happy to see that throughout the previous calls in the European innovation ecosystem, there is also very high percentage of the widening countries participating. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's around 31%. And also we have very good indicator on the gender participation. As a gender, for example, women, female coordinators of the projects. We are also, it's above Horizon Europe average, and of course it's something that we are very happy to see. But without further ado, let's go to the next slide, and I will just give very brief linkage with the upcoming topics that are going to be now presented by my colleagues, but just a little bit of indication how we see this linkages of this topic with the startup and scale-up strategy. So here, the first one that will be presented to you, it is a creation of European network of national competence centers for innovation procurement. And here it's again a little bit objective is to boost the innovation procurement in Europe, to boost the capacity of the public buyers that has actually hold quite a significant part of GDP in their hands, and who can really facilitate and facilitate the markets through the purchasing buyer, through the procurement, to buy more innovative solutions. And how we can do it here, particularly, we believe we want to tackle one particular aspect, one particular challenge that we find in Europe. And that challenge is that lack of competences and lack of knowledge and lack of skills around the national public procurers to really to understand how they can procure innovative solution better. So of course, it also comes to the question of the risk taking. It also comes to the question of the traditional ways to operate. But here, with the creation of the network of national competence center, support of this network, but also the objective of growing of this network of the National Competence Center for Innovation Procurement, we hope to help the buyers to change they sort of set way of action and buy more innovative solution, and also innovative solution that sometimes coming from the startups and, let's say, smaller companies, not only from the big companies. And here again, how we see this topic would contribute to the startup and scale-up strategy. Of course, it would help to create early markets for innovative companies, to finding them also first customers, also through the public sector, and of course would help by buying these innovative solutions through from the European companies. It also would help reinforcing EU strategic autonomy and strategic technologies. Next slide, please. So we're coming to the next topic. Again, it will be presented in details to you very soon. And topic is expanding investment ecosystems. And here I would like to link it to the startup and scale-up strategy, and particularly the part of the access to finance. We do believe that there are a lot of investors already in Europe and there are a lot of innovative companies. But again, the challenge is to link them together, to make them meet, and also to make sure that the links between strong and also emerging regions, maybe less strong regions, are well developed, making also investors from other countries, for example, for the more developed countries, also be acknowledge the markets and acknowledge the potential of the startups and maybe in less developed regions and countries, and attract the capital to these markets. So of course we want to achieve more co-investments, mobilization of private capital, and access to markets and finance for startups and SMEs through this topic. Again, we hope that this topic will help to tackle the financing gap for startups and scale-ups, foster the cross-border investment flows and venture capital networks, and also support startups particularly in the 5 burning challenges of the new European Innovation Agenda relevant to the deep tech. Next slide, please. I'm coming to the last topic of today's call. It is scaling up deep tech ecosystems. And again, deep tech, of course, it's coming on the forefront of our agenda, forefront of our competitiveness. But also, of course, we believe that we need support deep tech particularly, just because it takes time for the startup and scale ups in deep tech to grow, to mature, and to exit. And here it's particularly topic is we would like to help access for the deep tech startups and scale up to the pan-European research infrastructures to increase the SMEs and industry involvement in research infrastructures and also provide innovation training. How does it contribute to the startup and scale-up strategy? Because indeed, research infrastructures, European research infrastructures, very strong research infrastructure that we are having, we believe we need to build on that, and they also one of the very important element towards our competitiveness. So we hope with this topic to really help to bridge this gap between academia and industry, to enable commercialization of the research solutions to the market, and again through the better connectedness of the SMEs and research infrastructure to strengthen EU competitiveness in strategic sectors. That is all for my presentation, that I broadly outline your objective of the startup and scale-up strategy and linking it to the current topics and the current call. Of course, I very warmly invite you to read this very important document. This is available online, European Startup and Scale-up Strategy, that we believe would help you to prepare for the upcoming calls. And also take a look to the previous document of the new European Innovation Agenda, because there, for example, you will find also the areas in the deep tech where we are inviting you to specify. So thank you very much. And Daniel, Flores, back to you.
Many thanks, Ekaterina. Very useful policy context for our potential applicants. And maybe I will complement with saying it with other words. Definitely, ecosystems in the innovation area are super important for having specifically breakthrough innovation. And you can see here that our menu is totally complete with all possible means. The other message is that if you are an innovation agency at regional or national level, as Ekaterina said, what we're looking for is that you're working together. Stop working in parallel, because here in Europe we are a little bit specialized in having a kind of millefeuille of intermediary organizations. So what we're looking for is that you're working together. And I also liked a lot what you said, Ekaterina, about the high impact we have with this limited budget. And indeed, the secret of this good result is that we first of all have a very high competition in the calls. We have a very thorough evaluation process. Another secret is that we have a couple of actions which are also building on co-found. So it's giving additional means to our European founding. Then we have a very close monitoring here in the agency of the projects, which is also ensuring that the projects are delivering. And of course, we are building a lot on the communication of the projects. And we have also a heavy work here centrally in the agency, thanks to our central communication team. So having said that, we can turn to the first topic. Next slide, please, which is about the UP network of national competence centers for innovation procurement. Of course, this is a very important topic as we have a lot of spendings from the public sector, which can also support efficiently innovation, including from SMEs. So for this topic, we'll have Lieve Bos. She's the policy officer in DG RTD, complemented by Sylvie Serecki, project advisor in my team. So let's kick off right now with the policy context. Lieve, you have the floor.
Let's go immediately to the next slide then. So a bit more information about why we are supporting this network of national competence centers for innovation procurement. Well, if we look at the figures, Europe is still underinvesting in innovation procurement. So this means public buyers buying either research and development or testing of new solutions, or public buyers buying the actual innovative solutions themselves to deploy them and use them. Both types of innovation procurement are underinvested still in Europe. Only 10% of the total public procurement spending in Europe is going to innovation procurement. Well, this is more than the double in other parts of the world. So we really need to improve on that, because we can do all we want to invest in innovative companies, researchers, to create new solutions, but if not enough people are buying them, then yeah, a lot of these innovative ideas will never get used. So we see in particular that it's indeed not only the adoption of the new innovative solutions, but also that is lagging, but also that there is insufficient amount of public contracts that enable companies to test and develop solutions together with clients. We have 5 times less procurement contracts that are buying R&D in Europe versus, for example, the United States. And also in Europe, we are 27 different member states. So public procurement is very fragmented across different countries. And what we lack actually is also cross-border procurement. So procurements where buyers from different countries join together to do innovation procurements together to increase the demand for innovations, so that companies can grow their business not only inside their own country, but across Europe also. And a big problem is also, like was already mentioned in the intro by Ekaterina, that there is still a lack of experience among public buyers across Europe about what can they now best do and how can they now best make their public procurements more open to innovations and to innovators. But also among the companies themselves, there is still a lack of awareness, especially among smaller companies, about how the procurement market really works, how to prepare good offers. So this capacity building that needs to be improved is really an important point. And that's exactly what the national competence centers aim to do, to improve the awareness and the skills of both the buyers and the companies on how to make better use of innovation procurement. So that was all about the policy context, and then I give back the floor to Daniel.
Many thanks, Lieve. So indeed, you have set the scene. So we see the necessity for getting the support for both public buyers and companies for enhancing innovative procurement. And we can turn now to the specificities of the call. And for this, I'm giving the floor to Sylvie Serecki. Sylvie.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So let's deep dive into this topic, the first topic of this call. This action aims to support a setting of European-wide network of national competence inspired by the previous EU-funded project and reinforcing them further to other additional countries. A national competence center on innovation organization that has been assigned state or by an associated country to encourage the use of innovation procurement, such as providing practical and/or financial assistance to public procurers in the preparation, in the implementation of pre-commercial innovative solutions, PPI, across all sectors of public interest. Commercial procurement. It is a special way for the governments to buy research. And what is a public procurement for innovative solutions? It is when a government innovative that has been already developed. Let's see now the eligibility criteria. I need to see at least.
There's a bit of a problem with the network.
15.
Can you hear me? Laura here. Can you try to switch off your camera? Can you switch
Please,
off your
colleagues,
camera?
yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you have to switch off your mic, your loudspeakers, Sylvie. Otherwise, there's an echo. Voilà. Please, Sylvie, go ahead. I think it should be better now. C'est bon, Sylvie. Go ahead.
Can you hear me still?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Indeed, so back to the eligibility criteria, we wish to see at least 15 independent legal entities established in different member states or associated countries. So the minimum is a network of 10 existing national competence centers of innovation procurements plus 5 public bodies that have the mandate to set up 5 new national competence centers for innovation procurement in 5 different member states or in associated countries, with at least 2 of the 5 new ones in emerging or moderate innovator countries, as it is defined in the European Innovation Scoreboard. The duration of this action is expected to be for 4 years. But now let's see the 4 categories based on the European Innovation Scoreboard that defined 4 types of member states based on their innovation capacities. So we have innovation leaders, we have strong innovators, then we have the moderator countries, and we have the emerging countries. So how do we define the moderates? Are the countries that score between 70 and 100% of the EU innovation average of the member states, and the emerging countries are those ones that score less than 70% of the EU average innovation score. So then we know the two different countries, emerging and moderate ones. Next slide, please. Activities that are expected to be developed from this call are to intensify and to expand the activities of existing competence centers and to create new competence centers, sharing experiences on pre-commercial procurement and public procurement of innovative solutions across Europe. Promote the Horizon Europe funding for pre-commercial procurement and for public procurement innovative solutions and synergies with European structural investment funds, funding to public procurers in cooperation with national contact points, and support public procurers in launching such procurements. The national contact points are the national points that are located in the 27 member states. They are to support and to help the researchers across the EU. Facilitate the creation of national, transnational buyer groups that ensure wider diffusion of innovations that result from innovation procurements, plus the start of new joint innovation procurements on new topics, including on strategic technologies. Promote national innovation procurement business opportunities to innovate companies across the member states, across the associated countries, in cooperation with the European Innovation Council Business Acceleration Services and the European Enterprise European Network. As you know, this is an EU-wide network supporting and helping small and medium enterprises, the SMEs. Collaborate with national policymakers to develop and to coordinate actions to mainstream pre-commercial agreements and PPIs across Europe and implementing action plans, targets, monitoring and incentivizing schemes that encourage procurers to undertake more PCPs and PCIs, maximize synergies that national and the European structural investment funds, and focus on the budget requested from the Horizon Europe on activities, partners that cannot be funded from the ESIF funding or where no national funding is available, to cooperate with other Horizon Europe funded initiatives on innovation procurement for maximizing impacts and synergies. Next slide, please. What are the expected outcomes of this call? Expansion and intensification of innovation procurement support measures implemented by national innovation procurement competence centers across Europe, enhanced capacity of public buyers to carry out pre-commercial procurement and public procurement of innovative solutions, leading to more PCP and PPI procurements being implemented nationally and across borders. Greater awareness and participation of innovative companies in procurement, stronger policymakers' recognition of strategic importance of innovation procurement. Then we have the contribution to the EU startup and scale-up strategy, policy objectives, so creating early markets for innovative companies. This is the first customers, and then reinforcing the EU strategic autonomy in strategic technologies. Next slide. Here we will see the administrative requirements for the call. So we see that the type of grant is a coordinating and supporting action. It's lump sum funding. It is a budget of 4.5 million. Indicatively, we will see one grant that will be funded, and the expected duration is, as I said before, 4 years. Next slide. So the administrative requirements, you will see, you have the 33 pages as indicated for the Part B. Then you have the main obligatory annexes, this Part B of the proposal, the detailed budget table, and if you have more questions, you can specifically further see the administrative requirements of the first topic of the call. Thank you. Back to Daniel.
Many thanks, Sylvie. So indeed, you can see here that thanks to the very good policy thinking of the Commission, all the blocks are together. Basically, this is a rather big budget for a single project, but of course, it's also because it has a certain size and high ambition. I want to underline here also the requirement about the synergies. So these synergies are, of course, within Horizon Europe, and we're implementing within European innovation ecosystems also PCP, PPI projects. So this is very important to link it with. And you have also seen the correlation with the structural funding or national funding. So basically, the idea of this ambitious call is to put all the pieces together and to create a very favorable environment for both procurers and companies. So having said that, I'm now very pleased to open the Q&A session. So for this, we'll be switching to the Slido screen so that we can skim through the questions, and we'll be very pleased to answer them. So could you please define national competence centers? Maybe for this question, I will pass the floor to Lieve, our internationally recognized expert about procurement. Lieve, can you answer this one?
Yeah, I think Sylvie already showed it on one of her first slides. So national competence centers is really an entity or a group of entities, because the second question is asking, does it have to be one entity or can it be a group of entities? It's an entity or a group of entities that has been appointed by its country to act as the National Competence Center for Innovation Procurement. That is for the existing competence centers that are already there. In some countries, it's one entity that has been appointed to do all the tasks of a competence center. In other countries, like for example in Finland, it's a grouping of different entities that together each specialize in a particular task of a National Competence Center and together form the National Competence Center. For the countries that don't have a National Competence Center yet, but that want to create one during the project, we ask minimum 5 countries to do that during the project. Then, like the definition said that Sylvie showed, we need to have a public body or a body that has been appointed by the country that has the mandate to set up such a National Competence Center and that can participate in the project to do that then. The nice thing is that then in the project, the existing competence centers can share experience with the new ones and help them to set up their competence center.
Many thanks, Lieve. So stay with us because you can see the other questions, and I think I will pass you the floor so we can consider that this one has already been answered. So the answer is that it can be different legal entities representing one competence center. This is moving here quite fast. So maybe this one is also for you, Lieve, about the 15 centers must be in 15 different countries.
Yes, indeed. And Sylvie showed that it has to be member states or associated countries. But which countries, that is totally up to you as proposers.
Thank you. And maybe you can also take this one. What type of document is required to demonstrate that the institution applying has the mandate on PCP to be a national competence center?
Yeah, so first of all, we're not asking for national competence centers that have only a mandate on pre-commercial procurement. So we're asking for a network of national competence centers for innovation procurement, so for all types of procurements that deal with innovation, also the procurements that buy innovative solutions without doing any R&D. Which type of document is required to demonstrate that you have such a mandate to be a competence center? We have not given ourselves a specific document, a template document for you to fill in, because in the countries where the national competence centers already exist, they have already been established through an official channel with official documents that are different from the ones, of course, that we would provide. So to limit any kind of overhead for participants to participate, you can come with your own proof, whatever proof you have from your country that shows that you have such a mandate to be already or to become a national competence center. And you just annex this then to your proposal, include it in your proposal.
Many thanks, Lieve. If I take the next question, how is the EIA work program aligned with the EIC and EIT KICs or Climate KIC? Will there be zum Beispiel jointly organized entrepreneurship support events? Many thanks for the question. So maybe a couple of words from my side. So indeed, in the Commission, there's a very heavy work on the preparation of the works program. So we're doing our best for aligning the different work programs. But definitely, that's a very good question because there are also PCP and PPI activities in many other programs. So basically, I would say there's a certain alignment for sure. And we can only encourage to have indeed jointly organized entrepreneurship support events. This is happening very often. And you can, in this case, team up either with other projects or in certain cases, probably more limited also centrally with the EIC activities, for instance. So this is something which can be arranged in parallel. I will take the next question. Is there a public list of national competence centers listed on any public website online? I think I can pass this to you, Lieve.
Yeah, there are two links in the slides that Sylvie showed that go to websites with links to national competence centers. The first one is the previous project that we funded a couple of years ago that created the first 10 national competence centers in Europe. The contacts are still there on their website. But then in my first slide where I showed the policy context, there is also a link at the bottom of the benchmarking of national policies on innovation procurement that we do every year. And also in this benchmarking, you find more updated information about what's the status of what each country is doing to support innovation procurement and whether they have a national competence center or not.
Many thanks, Lieve, and thank you for reminding us about the excellent reading of the benchmarking. That's really super interesting to see how is the state of play in the different member states. And then the next question is, how do you plan to create collaboration with the EIC Business Acceleration Services when they're aimed towards EIC grant recipients? So I don't know, Lieve, do you want to take this one as well?
Yeah, sure. Of course, Sylvie hasn't read out the entire call text, but when after this event, after this info day, you go and read that at your own ease, you will see that the call text actually even explicitly encourages applicants to consider creating this kind of collaboration with other EU initiatives that work on innovation procurement, including the EIC Business Acceleration Services. What are they doing? They are helping EIC grant beneficiaries, so companies that are supported by the European Innovation Council, to find investors, but also to find procurers. So here, of course, there can be big collaboration between the competence centers who promote innovation procurement, who help companies and procurers to start innovation procurements with this EIC Business Acceleration Services. So it is really encouraged to do this in the project.
Many thanks, Lieve. So you can see that l'union fait la force. So this is absolutely relevant also in the area of ecosystems. I guess the next one is for you as well, Lieve. Is there a specific balance needed between PCP and PPI for the resources that will compose the new National Competence Center?
Well, if you ask me, do we have to promise in the proposal that, as a competence center, we will spend 50% of our time on promoting R&D procurement and 50% on procurements that procure innovative solutions, or another specific balance? No. I mean, we know from the benchmarking that there is much more need for procurements that deploy innovative solutions than there is for R&D procurements to create sufficient innovation procurement around Europe. In fact, 3% of all procurements should be R&D procurements and 17% should be procurements that really deploy innovative solutions. But the ones that do the R&D are very important, because if you don't create new innovative solutions together with buyers, especially on new emerging strategic technologies, then you may lag behind from the beginning, and then the uptake afterwards may never happen. So the only thing that the call text says that the national competence centers should promote and work on both, but there is no specific balance requirement on how much time or effort you should spend exactly on both.
Okay, many thanks. So I guess for the partners in topic 1, I read this HE like Horizon Europe, but I'm not totally sure. So Lieve, do you have an idea about this acronym of HE?
Yeah, I'm also assuming it will be a Horizon institution, and that the question is, can any Horizon institution be an applicant? Well, how can I answer this question? There is no limitation on who can participate in projects funded from the EIE work program, as Ekaterina explained. But so it can be, anybody can participate, even entities who are not competence centers could participate in, I don't know, other activities in the project, dissemination activities, or building cooperation with like the Business Acceleration Services or other company initiatives. But of course, we have a requirement that we need to see minimum 15 competence centers working together in the project, and that will be the main weight and consume the main resources of the project budget, of course, to get all these tasks done.
Many thanks, Lieve. So the Horizon Europe meant higher education, but we can answer following Lieve's indication, yes. So
yes,
the higher
they
education
can also participate.
Can participate. And now comes the last question for this session, because then we'll be turning to the next topic. And the question is about, can you explain how the cross-border procurements will be supported? National procurement authorities is often limited in their directives. So that's, of course, the very good question. And that's the main reason why we have the Commission and why we have the EU. So for this question, I'm passing you the floor as well, Lieve.
Yeah. So that's an interesting question, because indeed this project, this scope, is only giving funding to national competence centers or to the work to create national competence centers. It's not giving funding to public buyers to actually do innovation procurement. So we're not co-financing the procurement of any solutions here. So how will the cross-border procurements be supported? Well, with other funding, either from member states themselves, like, for example, from the European Structural Investment Funds, or national or regional funding that does not come from the EU budget, or from the funding that we have in the other parts of the Horizon Europe program that do give financing for procurers to implement cross-border procurements together. So actually the national competence centers are supposed to, or are encouraged to, work together with the national contact points, the NCPs that are mentioned here in the question, because the NCPs are the ones who are helping the Commission create the work programs in these other parts of Horizon Europe that can co-finance joint cross-border procurements. And if they work well together, they could together ensure that more procurers are doing these kind of cross-border procurements together, and so that more opportunities will be available for companies to deliver innovative solutions to buyers.
Thank you, Lieve. So again, l'union fait la force, and working at European scale is delivering much higher results than working at national or regional level. So I think we can now close topic 1. Many thanks, Lieve. Many thanks to Sylvie. And for the next topic, which is also a topic which is very close to my heart, which is also about very similar issues we have, which is a scale. And let's kick off right now on topic 2, expanding investment ecosystems. And for this, I'm very pleased to pass the floor, first of all, to Radostina Zinova. She's Policy Officer in DG RTD A5. Radostina, you have the floor.
Daniel, I'm very happy to be here and present exactly this topic close to my heart. Here we're building on the similar topic from previous work program. And in addition, as Katerina mentioned, we would like to focus on our priority to tackle the financing gaps for scale-ups, which we identified in the startup and scale-up strategy. So with this here topic, we would like to have more targeted focus on scaling up the startups coming from emerging and moderate innovators. We are happy to see that there are already a lot of support for startups by the local ecosystems, the local VCs. They're expanding, still a lot to be done, but more and more the local VCs are able to support the first stage of development of innovative companies. Now we would like to focus on the next stage. These companies, we would like to support them to expand to other EU markets and strengthen the cross-border cooperation within the EU. And for expansion, what a young company needs, it needs to have access to markets. It needs to know the knowledge about the markets, about the regulations, and of course, also next stage VC funding. And we believe exactly this, how we could combine all of this, what a young company needs, with a smart investment. If a company from emerging or a local or moderate innovator is able to attract a VC from the more developed countries, from the strong or innovation leaders in innovative regions, this VC is going to help not only with the funding, but with the local knowledge about the markets, with the network, with support on the regulation, and etc. In the same time, this VC funds from the more strong and innovative leaders regions, they also lack knowledge about emerging and moderate innovators. So with this topic, we would like to strengthen both the knowledge of the startups for the more developed regions, and in the same time, the VCs for the less developed regions. How we could do this? By connecting or increasing the collaboration between the local VCs with the VCs from the regions targeted for expansion. And this trust that is important to be created, it's going to help for, or we believe, is going to help to increase the collaboration between and the cross-border investments between the different countries within the EU. This is in general what we would like to achieve. Of course, we are open for different activities that are helping the VCs to collaborate, to network, other activities that are for developing the network, repository of knowledge, both for the startups, for the expanding markets, and for the VCs to understand more the markets of emerging and moderate innovators. And one more thing here, we also would like to have more targeted sectors when building these activities. We would like to build and add additional value with the knowledge that all of these people would know about specific sectors in order to build and support the growth and the scale of these companies. And if we go to the next slide, there we have explained in more details the more specific goals, which I already covered. And again, all of this is with the goal to support the scaling phase of companies, innovative companies from emerging and moderate innovators, and strengthen the knowledge of so-called foreign investors. In the code, this means investors that are coming from outside of the country where the company is based. And if we go to the next slide, I think it was covered already by Ekaterina. The more co-investments and mobilization of private capital, we would like to see how the startups are really supported. And in general, I will be very happy to see and looking forward for all of your proposals with the goal how we help companies scale within EU, expand to other markets, and increase their knowledge for the markets, and increase the knowledge of and collaboration between the VCs from different countries to work together and cooperate. That's from me. I'll give back the floor to Daniel, and happy to see your proposals. Thank you.
Many thanks, Radostina. So indeed, we've had a first call a couple of years ago, which projects have partially also already finished. You can check this out on the call, which had been mentioned on the page of the founding and tenders portal. And also another hint is these projects are also displayed on a map on our European Innovation Ecosystems Data Hub, So don't hesitate to connect. It's very easy to find. You are just putting in a search engine, European Innovation Ecosystems Data Hub, and you will then reach our pages on the ACEMEA website. So many thanks for the policy context, Radostina. Indeed, again, l'union fait la force. We need scale. We need to put this together. We need also to have a lean ecosystems in all over Europe. So this is why we're also focusing here on moderate and emerging innovator regions. And now let's turn more to the technicalities. And for this, I'm very pleased to invite Oliver Kozak from my team to take the floor. Oliver?
Yes, good morning. Happy to be here. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the format of this call is a coordinating and support action, CSA, and the financing is done as a lump sum funding. The budget of the call is 5 million, and we foresee to fund 5 grants. The duration is 24 months as in the work program. Next. The eligibility criteria for beneficiaries. You need at least 3 independent legal entities. They can come from member states or associated countries. But we would like that at least one is from a moderate or emerging innovator region, and at least one from a strong or innovation leader region. Obviously, you will have 2 from one or the other. How to define the level of the innovation capability is you use the different databases that we have, the regional innovation scoreboard, the European innovation scoreboard, or if the country is not, or the region is not in that index, then you can use the global innovation index, and finally, the Horizon Europe program country profiles. Next, please. Whom we would like to apply for this call. So the proposal has to be done by one of these type of entities: a business acceleration service, investor networks or hubs, or innovation hubs. The consortium partners must be from both emerging and less developed countries or strong and leader countries and regions. Next, please. What type of activities do you need to focus on? You need to choose at least 5 from these 9 possibilities. So market orientation introduction programs for foreign investors, or the same for local startups and funds, assistance to foreign investors during the whole process of the investment, roadshow leading to innovation hubs, organization of European international business forums, conferences and events, then establishing cooperation with public and private buyers, innovative companies, peer matching of investors, network activities, repository of best practices of market entry facilitation targeted for the foreign investors or the startups. And finally, recommendations on the regulation for local authorities and the European regulators. Next, please. You need to target one or several of the 5 burning challenges of the new European innovation agenda, namely fossil fuels, food security, digital transformation, healthcare, or circularity. Next, please. We encourage in the call that you develop and work relationships with innovation agencies or similar government organizations for startups. We encourage that you find synergies with the Enterprise Europe Network or other EU initiatives, and also with other projects of this topic. For the full details of the requirements and eligibility criteria, please refer to the call text and the work program. Next, please. For administrative requirements, the page limit is 33 pages, and in the part B of your proposal, you have to explain, of course, your actions, and we would like to see the detailed budget table in an Excel format, which is part of the lump sum requirements. Thank you. Daniel, back to you.
Many thanks, Oliver. So indeed, a couple of words about these page limits. So this is a call in which we're expecting lots of proposals, so make good proposals. And also a personal note about artificial intelligence. We have had several proposals which were written by artificial intelligence, but honestly, you are spending a lot of energy and a lot of CO2 for this. So be aware that we are detecting very easily these applications, which will be dealt quite quickly with. So activate the human intelligence. So having said that, let's open now the Q&A session. For this, I remind you that you can join the Slido session, #EIE 2025. And so now let's have a look at the questions. And of course, I can also invite you to check out this project from the first cohort of the first call. It will be a lot of inspiration for you. So I'm turning now to the first question, which is about, can you confirm the status of project partners from the Republic of South Korea? Regular partners with a share or associated partners without budget? So I think, Oliver, I can pass this one to you.
Yes, so this depends on the association level of South Korea. So you may be aware that in the summer, this agreement has been signed with South Korea, but it is Pillar 2 and our core is in Pillar 3. So South Korea, if I understand well, cannot be a beneficiary in the project directly as a consortium partner. You have to find other forms to involve South Korean partners in the consortium. But if you submit this question to us, then we can look into detail and we'll post the answer specifically to the website.
Many thanks, Oliver. I guess you have seen on the screen the second question, which is of course also very relevant considering the scale of VC funding over there. So Oliver, I can pass you this one as well. I think it will be rather straightforward for answering.
Yes, so they cannot receive funding. This is the general rule in Horizon Europe. Associated partners can take part of the grant, they can take part of the actions, and this is common, but they are not eligible for funding. So you have to find a different kind of involvement in the project.
Yes, so I think you glitched slightly because you were saying associated partners. Let's say we're talking about associated countries.
Yes.
But definitely there's a way of also integrating somehow foreign partners, let's say from third countries within the projects, but indeed they will not receive any EU funding for their contribution to the project.
Yes, so we have to pay attention if we say associated country, it's a Horizon Europe agreement, and in the grant itself, how you take part, that's also defined, and it is described in the model grant agreement. If you search the funding and tenders portal, the annotated grant agreement explicitly defines that what happens or how you can participate from a country that is not associated to Horizon Europe.
Many thanks, Oliver. Next question is there a networking platform somewhere to find consortiums being formed? So here the answer is yes, because on the funding and tenders portal, you have also opportunities for finding partners. Oliver, I guess this is a sufficient answer, so we can save some time. And then the next question is, what organizations count as innovation hubs? Does it need an official stamp or does self-declaration suffice? Here, you know that the Commission has certain areas of flexibility. So I guess this is a bottom up. So it's no, we don't have any official requirements for stamps. Radostina, I see you open your camera. Do you want to answer as well, complementing?
Yes, indeed, I'm confirming exactly what you were saying for this particular topic. No, it's encompass wide range of stakeholders, including entities from both private or public sector, incubator, accelerators, but no, it does not have a stamp for Innovation Hub, particularly for this.
Okay, no stamp, even though it's also, we are here dealing with a lot of EU funds, so we are stamping regularly documents, but for these innovation hubs, there is no official stamp. So for the next question about the South Korea, so Oliver has already answered, so we'll be checking this out and publicize the concrete answer in the case of this very call. Can this call use for supporting a startup ecosystem in Latin America? So here the answer is no, because this is EU-centered. So we're here targeting essentially EU member states and Horizon Europe associated countries. Next one is any support directly to startup envisaged for founding within the call? Or is it more on the ecosystems focus exclusively? So here, Radostina, I don't know if you want to answer this one, but basically here we're not given the limited budget call. It's not for the founding itself. It's more for the ecosystem. Radostina?
Yes, it's for building the ecosystems, and of course, the whole idea is to support the startups to grow.
Indeed, I mean, for the support in terms of venture, this is more in the hands of the European Investment Fund. So this is not so much dealt here within the EIE work program. Is any support directly to startup envisaged for founding within the core? So this one is okay. Can foreign investors be also venture capitalists from associated countries? What is a country not associated to Pillar 3? So I think, Oliver, you've also already answered partially, so maybe you can repeat what you said.
Yes, you can take part of the actions in the grant, but financial beneficiary of the call itself, of the project itself, can only be partners who are eligible for the funding, which are the EU member states or the associated countries.
Many thanks, Oliver. Next question is, any added value to have a coordinator from a moderate innovation region? Maybe I can take this one, Oliver, if you don't mind. Basically, there's no big difference. We won't make the evaluators will not give any plus points if the coordinator is coming from a moderate innovator region. So this doesn't change much. Next one. Then is AI forbidden or just discouraged? No, it is not forbidden. Of course, you can do however you want. I was just mentioning this point because we could definitely see that AI generated proposals are not very successful. So, I mean, are not successful at all. So what we're just looking for is human intelligence and the good solutions for the problems we are trying to solve with this call. So it's not forbidden, it's indeed discouraged. Do you have any KPI on leverage finance to be brought by the VC to the project for transnational investment? So here, maybe Radostina, I will give you this one, if it's okay for you.
Yes, no, we don't. We haven't envisioned specific KPI for this topic, but of course, we expect to have a proposal for you how exactly you're going to achieve this and to see the results based on the KPIs that you propose.
Indeed, it's still a very good point because we like also here in the Commission, but also for the evaluators, they like to see KPIs because KPIs, or in other terms, key performance indicators, enable also to better evaluate the potential impact of the proposal. So here we are very flexible with KPIs, but my recommendation is put some KPIs into your proposals so that the evaluators can also see the potential impact. So it's a very good question. Many thanks for this one. I'm now looking at the next one, which is about, is InvestEU, EIB and EIF integrated to open doors to support with their resources, team and use of technology solutions that will be proposed under this call? Also a very good question. We see here that we have a lot of experts in the room. So, I mean, basically here it's a combination is somehow possible. I don't know if you want to complement Radostina on this one.
Yes, well, we are proposing this call in a coordination of all the policies that we do in supporting these regions and cross-border collaboration. So InvestEU, EIB, and EIF, they're working on anyway on the initiatives of supporting the goals that we're having. A lot of VC investors are supported from the emerging and moderate regions. And in the same time, a lot of investors are already supported, focusing on investments on entire EU or particularly on regions that are, let's say, less developed. So in any case, the topic that we're proposing here is complementary to everything that InvestEU, EIB, and TF are doing and supporting. And I'm sure that they will be happy to see the initiatives that we're having and support further with their participation or promoting the activities that we'll have among their network also.
Many thanks, Radostina. Again, l'union fait la force. I'm sure that our EIF and EIB colleagues are almost crying of emotion when they're seeing our activities here in EIE. And I'm now taking the next question. Is there a template for the consortium agreement, and are there other templates? So for the consortium agreement, we don't have any template. This is something which is project internal, but you can find a lot of examples on the internet. And for the budget templates, Oliver, this one is for you.
So there will be a specific webinar, and I will also talk about the lump sum agreement, and I recommend that you pay attention to that, and you will see there the templates and structures that we propose.
Thank you, Oliver. Then the next question is, can a company apply for 2 of the presented calls? So here, I would be rather clear-cut. The answer is no. I mean, a company can participate to a consortium. This is really possible. But here we're looking for consortia, and we've detailed already the eligibility criterion. So for this, please have a look at the call text. Next one is, are you aware of any cohorts, and is there a list of parties interested for partnerships? So as I said, you can check this out on the EIE, on the European Innovation Ecosystems Data Hub, and feel free just to get in touch with the mentioned partners there. It's a very good source of information, and you have also the partner search facilities on the call page. Next one is concerning the Latin American incubator ecosystem. It would be around French Guinea. So I mean here, of course, overseas territories are like any member state region, so it's fully eligible. But definitely the target and the objective is to support the European ecosystems wherever they're in the world, so including in overseas territories.
And if I might jump here also, Daniel, so also when we say strong innovator region, it's from within the country, region should be strong innovator. Because in many countries we have different regions that are in different stage of innovation development. So it should be a region that is a strong innovator, or depending, emerging innovator or moderate innovator, and etc.
Many thanks, Radostina. Next question is, what is required from an associated partner to be included in a proposal? So here, Oliver, do you want to take this one?
Yes, so they may lead work packages, except the coordination and management activities in the project. They can be responsible for deliverables and milestones. They do not sign the agreements, but the consortium partners ensure that these associated partners fulfill the requirements or the work that was envisioned. And of course, associated partners cannot be the coordinator in the project.
Thank you, Oliver. So for the next question, and I think we're ending the Q&A session with this one. When will be held this webinar on financial issues? Where will this be published? So on one hand, the recording of the present info session will be made available on EISMEA website. And secondly, more specifically about financial aspects, we have a speech of a colleague addressing the lump sum scheme, which, by the way, is extremely interesting for you, and which is also showing the sign of trust and the intention of simplification that we're having for managing our programs. So you will hear more about the lump sum scheme later. So I think now we can close this topic 2. Many thanks, Radostina. Many thanks, Oliver. Very helpful. I think we have provided a good guidance to our potential applicants. And we're now turning, after the millefeuille, we are now turning to the big Schwarzwald-Torte, dear colleagues. And this is the topic 3, which is scaling up deep tech ecosystems. And for addressing this topic, we have the colleague from DGRTD A5 again, and by the way, also extremely talented in languages. So you will certainly understand this word, Schwarzwaldtorte, dear Cedric. And then for the technical aspects, we'll be turning again to our valiant Oliver, which is covering 2 topics today. So for the policy context about the called scaling up deep tech ecosystems, over to you, Cedric.
Hello. So I will try to give you a short overview of the logic behind this topic. So if I can have my first slide. So here you see the different objectives, the policy objective that we are following by supporting deep tech ecosystems in Europe. So of course, the European Union has been supporting research infrastructures in different ways, especially through the European Research Area. And today, all these infrastructures are available and provide interesting services. So one of the objectives of this call is to use the infrastructure that are available to foster deep tech projects. A second objective of this call is actually to enable deep tech innovation. So this means actually foster innovation projects based on deep tech solutions. And overall, the third objective is actually to develop the ecosystem more generally. Can I have the next slide, please? So you could ask yourself, why do we need to support deep tech ecosystems in the first place? So the reason behind that is that actually if you look in your pocket, look at your smartphone, or almost every device you're using today, it's rooted in deep tech. So it's a deep tech innovation that are fueling our daily life, and the logic behind the deep tech companies that are following a problem-driven approach leads actually to find new solutions to our global challenges. So developing deep tech ecosystems is important in this regard. And another important aspect, of course, Yekaterina said it in her introduction, if we want to make Europe a more innovative place and a more knowledge-intensive economy, deep tech is a central area to work on. So developing the deep tech ecosystems follows actually all these objectives. Can I have the next slide, please? So what we know about deep tech ecosystems is that they are facing specific challenges along the development cycles, who are due to the intensity of the research effort that is behind it. Deep tech companies are facing some costs, which make it more difficult to access to finance. And they also need to access specific resources, especially expertise, but also the research infrastructures that I mentioned for the objectives. So this leads us actually to this is a bit the rationale behind the fact that public support is actually needed. And so that's also justifying why we are supporting deep tech ecosystems. Can I have the next slide, please? So this leads us to identify the following outcomes as potential outcomes of this project. So what we are expecting from this topic is successful deep tech projects based on the utilization of research infrastructures, especially those one from the S3 roadmap. The emergence of promise deep tech innovation. So the deep tech innovation are in the center here. Consolidation of deep tech ecosystems. So it follows the objectives, of course. And I tried to anticipate maybe one of the question about how do we measure impact on that. And so a way to do that is, of course, to look a little bit at how many projects are using infrastructures, how many innovative projects in the deep tech areas do this ecosystem support, and of course some indicators on ecosystem development would be useful. Daniel, I give the floor back to you. Yep.
Many thanks, Cedric. So now we're turning to the more practical aspects of this call. Definitely, we need the involvement of infrastructures, and we need to grant the access of innovative companies, specifically SMEs, to these infrastructures. And now for the more details, Oliver, I'm passing the floor again to you.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So for the expected outcomes that we are looking for, deep tech ecosystems around pan-European research infrastructures, increased SME industry involvement, a stronger innovation training. Contribution to startup and scale-up strategy and policy objectives, once again, build world-class scale-up environments for deep technologies, bridges the academia industry gap, enabling commercialization, and strengthen EU competitiveness in these strategic sectors. The format of the call. Pay attention that this is a research and innovation action, so different than the previous two topics. Also, the financing is budget-based actual costs, not lump sum funding. And a big specificity of this call is financial support to third parties. The budget for this call is 5 million euros, and the indicative number of grants is 1. Next one, please. Who should apply? At least one of the following, either an ESFRI landmark or European Research Infrastructure Consortiums as a beneficiary. In case of distributed ERICS, one that is hosting one of its nodes can be applying. For the financing, for the financial support to third parties, we require at least 60% of the costs allocated to this. That would mean that in practice between 3 to 5 million euros. How much you can allocate to one beneficiary as a third party? It could be a maximum of 500,000 euros. This is specified in the work program, not in the call text. So I recommend you that for this call, really read also the work program. Next slide, please. The activities that we require: enhanced development of deep tech ecosystems around these pan-European research infrastructures, increased involvement of the industry, which would include SMEs, generate market opportunities, generate startups or spin-offs, valorization of the socio-economic impact of the past investments that have been done, and a focus on innovation, training, and education. Next, please. You would need to pilot the possibility to see the development of innovation ecosystems in 3 to 5 technological areas. You should identify deep tech innovations with breakthrough potential related to the pan-European research infrastructures, assess the feasibility and scalability of these identified innovations, suggest a selection and clustering of these innovations for industrial implementation, and as for financial support, run and evaluate the calls and assess the outcome of these grants that you have allocated. Please read the call text and the work program for full details. Next. And shortly, the administrative requirements. So you have 45 pages, and in your annexes, you have to detail the section on financial support to third parties and the declarations by the legal representative of the ERIC. Thank you. Daniel, back to you.
Many thanks, Oliver. So now returning to the Q&A session for this very topic. So indeed, you could see that the requirements were really high. Of course, Oliver, you read it out loud. It was, as mentioned, €5 on the slide, but we're talking here about 5 million.
Yes.
I guess the costs for managing a call of €5 would be rather excessively high for this amount of budget. So I'm now opening the Slido room for seeing the questions. Okay, so now, dear colleagues and dear participants, very good question. So FSTP, the financial support to third parties, is a very, very good scheme, which is also explaining the big impact we have with European innovation ecosystems, because we're using the scheme very often. So maybe I think, Oliver, I will pass you this one. Can you please clarify what you mean that 60% must be allocated to third parties?
So in the core budget, when you apply for 5 million euros. So of this, minimum 60% should be allocated to these third parties. So for this cascading grant call that you will run, minimum 3 million euros must be allocated to this, or it could be 4 million or 4.5 million, depending on how much do you foresee for the administrative costs and the organization of the project.
Thank you, Oliver. As I see that Cedric has his camera open, I will pass him the next question, which is about FSTP again. So who should be the final beneficiaries of these 500K? SMEs, research institutions, or up to the applicants? Are mini consortium pursued as sub-grantees? Cédric, bonne chance, à toi.
So okay, so part of it is actually already in the question. It really depends on the project and what the consortium wants to do with the call they publish. But actually, deep tech companies, for instance, are very good targets. Potentially, research institutions in specific cases. So. Yes, for a mini consortium, I wouldn't advise that for technical reasons.
Many thanks, Cedric. Next one is a rather easy one. What is the expected duration of the project, Oliver?
So it is, we didn't specify this, neither in the core text, neither in the work program, so it's up to you, but we imagine this would be something that takes 2 or 3 years at least. We will evaluate the different applications, and of course the duration will be part of the evaluation when we compare the proposals. But you are up to define what you see as an ideal length for this program to run. But we didn't limit it that if it takes 2 years, 2.5 years, or 3 years, or even longer, then you have to explain and validate your reasons that why you choose this length for the project.
Many thanks, Oliver. Next question is, has the FSTP to be run by the ERIC, or can it be done by any other partner in the project? Cedric, you take this one.
If I'm correct, it's a consortium actually who runs the FSTP scheme, so it's not necessarily the ERIC as an entity.
Thank you, Cedric. I think this is absolutely right. Next question. What size of consortium would you recommend for a competitive application? So I remind you again, here we're talking about Schwarzwaldtorte, meaning a cake from the Black Forest. So I don't know if you want to answer this one, Oliver.
Yes, so we didn't specify the number of beneficiaries in the consortium. From experience, what I can tell you that if you make the consortium very, very large, it will also increase your costs. In terms of the application, when we evaluate the proposals, we don't say that 5 or 10 or 15 is better, but we look at that what is the program that you propose and what is the consortium committing to do. And if you do this with a bigger one or a smaller one, that is up to you to define. But this cooperation and involving several beneficiaries, this is not the aim of the call. The call is really aiming at the output of the activities. But Cedric can amend if you want.
No, there are no specific recommendations about the consortium. It really depends on the project. It has to be logic with the type of project you are submitting, of course.
Yes, but what I have seen in the practice, this is my personal experience, that if you have a consortium that has involved more than 10 partners, then your costs for running the meetings, organizing the events will be significantly higher. But it is otherwise it's really up to you, and we don't scrutinize that why you choose the number that you choose.
Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, Cedric. Next question is, normally FSTP limit is 60K per beneficiary. So again, we see here that we have high-level experts for these questions, and it's indeed showing an excellent knowledge. So here there's a derogation from this 60K ceiling rule. So maybe I'll pass this one to Cedric. I see you're already excited for answering this one.
Excited, I don't know. So in this case, it's the nature of the topic that is justifying the fact that higher amounts are possible with FSTP. It's because of the nature that the deep tech innovation is costly, the involvement of research infrastructures. So the idea behind this exception to this common rule is actually to enable the projects to be run effectively.
Many thanks, Cedric. I mean, indeed, here what is very important as a rule is that the ceiling of 60K applicable in general terms is the maximum amount that an end beneficiary, meaning an entity having answered to the FSTP calls, can have. And we need indeed more means than 60K for supporting ambitious projects in the area of deep tech. Next question, what is the expected outcome deliverable of the project? Is it a framework of relationship among different actors or incubation, acceleration of 3 to 5 ideas? I think here this would be roughly extremely limited if given the budget. So Cedric, you take this one as well?
Yes, I have to read the question again. So what is expected outcome deliverable?
On va dire que c'est sans doute un peu plus que ça que l'on attend.
Yes, I would say it has to be a bit more ambitious than that. Yeah, it's probably the best answer to this question.
Okay, so basically we are expecting really impact with this high amount of budget. This won't be to organize coffees with Erics all over the place. We are looking at a bit more than that. So this is okay. Next one is using an research infrastructure mandate in the call. Our projects can propose enabling technologies for improving the research infrastructure. Cedric, you take this one?
Yeah, so the call is very specific on that, the involvement of research infrastructure and the use of services that are provided by research infrastructures that can be useful for deep tech innovation is mandatory.
Okay, so the next question is also for you, Cedric. We talked about this during the hot summer here in Brussels. So are the 500K for infrastructures? You see the rest, Cedric, if a core partner is part of S3 or ERIC, could the sub-grantee spend their 500K on the infra of this core partner? Cedric?
Yeah, so for the Cascade funding, if the S3 is part of the consortium, it cannot receive the fund from the Cascade funding. So it really is a project that have to be funded through the FSTP. So no back and forth money flows. That's the core principle here.
Indeed, that's a rule for FSTP. So the participants to the consortium cannot be beneficiaries of FSTP. So basically, they're organizing the settings for improving the ecosystem for deep tech innovators, but they cannot be part of it. So this is typically expenses which can be covered from the remaining budget of not FSTP. What is in ERIC?
Commenting on this?
Yes, please, Oliver. Yes. And you can also take the next question,
yes.
Oliver, right now.
Yes. So you can propose services as a consortium, and then these services, the cost of these services can be part of the project grant, but these have to be then financed from the project directly and not from the cascading fund. So the next question is, what is an ERIC? Can I form a new one? You can form a new one, but I'm afraid the time is very short. ERIC means European Infrastructure Consortium. This is a legal form that is defined. If you are not familiar with this, I suspect that probably you are not the target of this call, because it is kind of like a longer process to establish this entity.
Many thanks, Oliver. So maybe we're speeding up a little bit for the next questions. Can you please clarify how you envisage the participation of higher education institutions? Can these act as project leaders? So, I mean, it's a rather open approach. Cedric, you want to take this one?
Yes, so the higher education institutions are often part of deep tech ecosystems, so they are of course encouraged to be involved in the project. They can also lead a consortium, nothing prohibits it.
Many thanks. Then next question is, can you offer any indication on TRL, so technology readiness level of projects that are being targeted? Given higher FSTP, is the expectations projects will be more advanced? So maybe Cedric, I'm passing it to you, and if Oliver, you want to complement.
Yes, this is also specified directly in the call. So the TRL range is 2 to 5, so it's lower TRLs for this topic.
Oliver, okay with this?
Yes.
Thank you. Next question. I'm burning to take the question which is below, but now let's stay in the order. So the time of use within the research infrastructure is part of the budget of the grant of the research infrastructure partner, but not part of the FSTP, right? And I think we can say right, yes, that's correct. Now, next question is FSTP should also be from member states or associated countries. So I love this question because it shows that we haven't been sufficiently clear. But basically, the FSTP is taking the budget from the EU grant, which will then be rolled out. So it's not an additional source of funding here. It's not a co-found action. So this is really from the budget of the project. But of course, up to you if you find additional leverages with other sources of funding, and this will be giving also lots of flexibility to your implementation of the project. So basically here the answer is not necessarily, but if you find additional means to complement the resources of the project, it's very good news and will be highly appreciated by the evaluators. Next question regarding innovation training. Do you expect the implementation of programs, for example, masters in higher education or universities? Cedric?
We do not really target innovation training in this topic, so I think it's a bit out of subject.
Okay, but I mean, it can still be part of the implementation of the project. Indeed, if we're targeting also players in higher education. I mean, if you have deep tech innovators, highly skilled graduates, this is of course also relevant, but it's not the main purpose of this action.
If it's fostering the development of the entire ecosystem, of course, it's activities that are interesting, but not at the core of this topic.
Okay, Cedric, next one is for you as well. Do projects based on reskilling and upskilling labor force via AI design models qualify for the deep tech ecosystem? So tell us more about the definition of deep tech.
Yes, this is a very specific question. So I would say it depends on the outcome of the project. If it leads to deep tech innovation, I would say yes. So we have I would say a list of technologies that maybe that qualifies for deep tech. It's not limiting, but it's indicative, and it's in our startup and scale up strategy. You can look at that. AI is one of them, so that's giving you an indication.
Many thanks, Cedric. How should early stage startup pre-seed in deep tech approach EU funding mechanisms? So this is a very holistic question. I think this is not exactly the purpose of this call. So basically here, I can give you one advice. Please get in touch with your national contact point in Horizon for the SME programs, or you can also get in touch with the Enterprise Europe Network, which are available in the regions. And these will be guiding you through the different seas and oceans of opportunities offered either at EU level or elsewhere. I think we're now reaching the last question, and we are here in the good timing still. Are we expecting all project partners to be existing members of S3 networks? Cédric or Oliver?
Yeah, the answer is no. The requirement is only to have at least one partner that is part of is an ERIC or an S3 landscape.
Okay, so many thanks. Évidemment, je donne un petit hommage à mon collègue Eric Koch, who is head of sector here in my unit, but it's not about him we're talking here. Do sub-grantees need to specify the use of the 500K they are awarded? What is the recommendation split among categories, personal, ODT, or infrastructures? Oliver, you take this one?
Yes, so I recommend you to check out our guidelines or financial support to third parties that is available on the website, and then it will explain in detail what is required from your side to run these calls. But as a principle, but the nature of this is that you are acting on behalf of the European Commission in practice, so it would be like if it would run this call, but we foresee that you have better expertise, better scale, and better infrastructure to run these calls than we would if we would do it ourselves.
Thank you, Oliver. And I think the last question will be the little dessert for Cedric. So as TRL targeted is 2 to 5, does it indicate that you are less interested in activities focused on supporting commercialization of deep tech solutions?
Yeah, I would say no. We are of course very interested in supporting commercialization of deep tech solution, and the idea of this call targeting at TRL 2 to 5 is to bridge actually the gap between fundamental research and first applications. So this is the logic behind this TRL that have been selected.
Many thanks. I think we're now through with the Slido session. So many thanks for your excellent questions.